Our guest today is Miss Lee McLean from Alberta, Canada. She's the author of two books, Horsewoman, Notes on Living Well and Riding Better, and Love and Rules, Life Lessons Learned with Horses. She's a horse trainer and clinician. She's been writing and keeping a riding diary since the age of 9, which she has since turned into two books and a very successful blog. She is a side saddle riding and saddle fixing enthusiast. She is a stroke survivor who is sharing her journey and what she's learned on how to live well and ride better through sickness, aging, and real life. Miss Lee, how are you doing this morning?
Well, I'm doing really well. When I'm listening to what you're saying about me, I started to tear. I started to tear up because those sentences were the boiled down version of lots of years of not being well, right?
Yes,
Not,
ma'am.
not, yeah. And so it's like, oh, yeah, that's part of the story. I know lots of people will be able to understand that.
Well, I think just like old saddles, it's the scars and the wear spots that make them beautiful. So I always appreciate all of that stuff that you go
Oh,
through.
if all the women listening to you could please stop and rewind and listen to that again. Hey,
They for sure should. They worry way more about their appearance than the other gender worries about their appearance, for sure.
I wasn't going to go there. Mm.
Um, well, we like to start everybody off with the lightning round icebreaker questions, and these are 4 points. So be sure you're on your A game here. You can win some prizes at the end. Okay.
This is why I couldn't sleep last night because I take all day long to look for a word that I need. Lightning around and me. Oh no. Okay, I'm ready.
What is your favorite way to relax?
Oh, I can relax anywhere. I've got it down to a fine art. In fact, getting my stump stirred is a biggie. Um, Being outside, we have huge, powerful winds here. We live on the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains. And I learned a long time ago to not fight that wind and just let it blow right over me and blow all my worries away. So nature is a biggie. And then the bathtub every night for I won't say how long. It's got to the point where if there is not a bathtub involved, I cannot go and do that adventure. It's a
I
thing.
just I have to say this is one of those, and I work, I get dirty. So when I'm taking a shower, like there's evidence of it on the ground when I'm done. I feel like if I take a bath, I'm just sitting in a pool of my own filth and marinating in it. So it's never appealed to me at all.
Oh well, it's well. There are times where you have to maybe do the shower first before you can stew in your own soup. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that lots of women will understand because when your kids are young, it's the only way you can get away from your kids.
Hmm.
You know,
Yes,
they
ma'am.
can't climb in with you, so it's a physical boundary. I mean, I'm 60 years old and I'm still using it as my excuse.
If it works, it works. Um, if you were a Jedi, what percent chance would there be that you would use the Force inappropriately?
Well, for starters, I have to figure out what a Jedi is
Oh, okay.
because it's like a knight or a warrior or something, right?
But
But
with mystical powers.
they've got lightsabers.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the Star
you're
Wars, but
you're
they can
gonna
float.
die because I have never watched that show, okay?
Oh,
But my husband does, so I've kind of learned it by osmosis. And I would say if there was a good force to be had, that I would like to think that I would use only the good force. But I know in my heart of hearts that I would always be fighting
a
the
little road
urge
rage
to.
might come out once in a while. Just levitate.
That's as far as we'll go with that.
What is the saying? It only takes one slow walking person in the store to remove the illusion that I'm a good person.
There we are, right? Yes. So yes, if I was a truly good person, I wouldn't let Facebook comments get to me in the way that they do. But that's a whole other story that we'll no doubt touch on later on.
That's yes, ma'am. I think we should definitely touch on that later. I got
Okie dokie.
a few
Oh,
fish to fry there myself. Um, morning or evening?
oh, morning 100%. I can hardly wait to get up in the morning. It's like more, the sun doesn't come soon enough.
Is your husband a morning person as well?
Oh, Lord, no.
It always seems to be that I'm the morning person and my wife is absolutely not a morning person. Yeah, so but I
As
guess that's
as
your
he's banging around, he always seems to start a construction project after I've gone to bed because you can only be one or the other, right? And I'm always trying to remember, no, he'll have my coffee ready for me when I wake up in the morning. So I just, that I bear it with ill will. But yeah, we're opposites.
Do you have a physical fitness, stretching, or mental well-being type routine that you stick with?
I want to so badly say yes, religiously, I do. I come and go from it. I really do. I really do. Um, I don't feel well if I don't. But right now, I'm aware of the fact that I feel like I'm 75 years old, so I need to get doing something. Walking is a biggie. We're a long way from town, and at the
Hmm.
price of a gallon of diesel, um, I don't go into the gym or join sports, so I use that for hauling horses. Um, but yeah, a person should. Walking is it. Every now and then, I belong to a group that does yoga for riders because anybody who sits a lot in a chair often has a hard time sort of opening up their hips or whatnot, not feeling it when they step down. So I think for all of us, if we want to be horse people as we age, we have to be understanding and accepting of the fact that what we put into our bodies and what effort we put out has we're not 20 anymore. That didn't used to even be an issue, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But more and more, I'm starting to accept that yes, it is.
Bay or sorrel?
Well, I could say if it had four white feet, because I like being flashy, even if it's not wise or correct. It doesn't matter. I really like bays, but if I'm honest, my best horses have all been plain old sorrels and very often the dreaded chestnut mare. You know that one.
Yes, ma'am. I, I I'm not a bay horse guy, and my personal horse is a bay horse, and it doesn't. I've seen enough of them where it's kind of more the good horse is never a bad color sort of a thing. But bay wouldn't be my preference, and I probably say this too much, and the people that listen regularly are sick of hearing it, but it's like 80 or 90% of people's preference is bay horses. And I threw
Truly?
this in,
Really?
I
Really?
figured it would be like 50-50 or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
no idea there was such a preference for bay horses in the world, and it's not even close. It is
Okay.
far
Well,
and
I'll
away
tell
bay
you
horses.
something funny. I have had to learn because I have done it. I have bought every color of horse under the sun just to see if they were any different. And they're all horses.
Yes, ma'am.
I even bought spotted ones to see if they were different. And they're just spotted horses.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. This is one I'm on the fence about asking you. I play with these once in a while and change them around, but I just feel like I have to now because I'm on the fence. That means you have to,
Uh-oh.
right? Live
Uh-oh.
boldly. So,
Uh-oh.
would you rather have a drink with Bill Cosby or a cigar with Bill Clinton? The world we live
I
in, huh?
would have the drink and the cigar with Bill Clinton, I think.
Okay. All
I
right.
would. I would. Because I think he'd probably be a very interesting conversationalist. But
I think
I am not above a drink or a cigar, I'll have you know, Mr. Dauphin.
um dogs or cats?
Well, I would like to say both, but my husband, who is truly both, would say that I'm a dog person. because there's that little part of me that likes to snap my fingers and be obeyed. I really like the fact that when I come home at the end of the day, the dog is the only person who's truly happy to see me. An old lady once told me that when I was picking men, to pick men who were nice to cats, because she said the men who are nice to cats will also put up with you. And she was right.
Um, so among dogs, do you have a favorite breed of dog or type of dog?
Yes, officially I am to say border collie because we're ostensibly supposed to be all about the working dog here, where we are. But I did flirt dangerously in the realm of the basset hound
Oh my
for
goodness.
for a while. And despite the fact that she was never truly house trained, she had no recall whatsoever. Um, she could hear potato chips opening at 40 paces, but she did not know her own name. She could open the fridge door, but she didn't know her own name. I would love to have another.
I think that might be breed wise about as polar opposites on the spectrum of obedience as you
I
could
know.
possibly
So
get. Yes, ma'am.
my husband sits there with his border collie at his feet while I'm trying to get the hound to just even come. Yeah. It's not that she couldn't, it's just that she didn't want to.
There's no motivation there whatsoever. Yes, ma'am. My grandparents had a basset hound named Betsy, and I can still hear that dog howling, barking at cars in my
Right?
head. Every time someone says basset hound, I see Betsy in the corner of the yard, just barking at cars. Yep.
Well, mine's name was Ella, and she was truly a thoroughbred among hounds. I do think I will have another someday, but I might have to
Eh,
have a different husband.
Just make sure you get a black and white one. Maybe he won't notice.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Oh, the eternal question. I have decided that if somebody else is willing to make the pizza, does it matter?
Okay. So would eat but wouldn't order. Is that fair to say?
Nah, I don't know. Somebody else is buying.
Do you like a thin or a thick crust?
Thin crust, thin crust. It's all about the toppings. Yeah.
Are you a cook?
I have had to be. I actually cooked in a cookhouse for a really well-known ranch in the area for a long time, cooking for men on a wood-fired cook stove. Um, I can cook, by golly. We ran a guest ranch for many years, so I can cook. But again, if somebody else is standing in front of my stove and says, dinner's ready, come and get it, I am not going to push them out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, well, I was gonna ask this if you were more on the like to cook, but I guess I still will since you've done a lot. Do you have a favorite meal to cook?
Um, I'm a ranch girl, so a really good home raised roast beef, and I like biscuits. I like homemade beans that are soaked. Um, that kind of thing. That's comfort food to me. I cannot make, no matter how hard I try, Yorkshire puddings, though, which is just a shameful thing for a person who makes roast beef. But there we are. Full confessions.
How many holes do you think are in a straw?
One great big long one.
It's the only right answer.
Is it really?
For sure. If you
Okay.
drilled a hole in a board, it would just be a hole, a singular, right? You're a writer, so it's one, it's just a
Yeah.
longer hole. That's exactly
All righty.
right.
All righty.
If you want to ruin a straw, take like a tack or something and poke another hole in the side and it won't work anymore. So
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
I heard of a mom that used that as a trick with her kids and the Capri Suns or the juice boxes because they would drink them down in 3 seconds and want another one. So she
Yeah,
would
yeah.
give them an ineffective straw, so it took them several minutes to be able to drink it that way.
Oh,
Slowed them
it's
down.
like giving your kid a slow feed hay net or something,
E-
huh?
Exactly. Yes, ma'am. Do you have a horse industry related pet peeve that you would share with us?
Oh, how much time do we have?
All the
Um,
time in the world. That could be a book unto itself. I could just make a collection
right?
of all the
Right?
guests' pet peeves and do a little
Yeah.
article on
Oh
each.
man. I would say probably the one that just came to my mind first off was the people that just get right in their horses when they first saddle up. You know, they pull them up so tight right off the get-go. And I've never saw the need for that. Unless you're afraid your horse is going to come into and pile your rig. I don't know. But it sure does make a cinchy horse.
Yep. A lot
And
more likely to.
no matter how many times you tell people, they still want to do it.
Yes, ma'am. That's a
Have you
good one.
seen that? Have you seen that, or is that just a Canada thing?
Oh no, I see that all the time, and even ultimately, like I'll normally saddle a horse up snug, but not where the saddle won't slide off of them, but and then like lead them to the arena, and then I take it up before I get on them. Even when I take it up, it's not super tight
Yeah,
unless I know I'm about to rope something or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that. I don't
yeah.
ride with it real. I see people ride with that thing so tight. I'm just wondering. There's
Yeah,
no way a horse could have.
your horse's eyeballs shouldn't bulge out
Yes,
when
ma'am.
you've girthed up. Yeah, as a general rule, I would say that's probably sound advice.
Feral or spoiled? Which would you rather fool with?
That's a good question. I have done both. I have, I think, made a little bit of a name for myself for choosing to deal with spoiled. And I don't know whether that's because I like beating myself up or whether it's because not a lot of people want to take some of them on because they can be so confirmed in their mindset that things go bad real fast. And
I
I know it's man-made, but they're still not easy. But I'm gonna go with spoiled, believe it or not.
I think you're only the second guest that has chosen spoiled. Pretty much
See,
everybody else
see,
has chosen feral.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew. That's just confirmation that I'm weird. I knew it. Doesn't mean that I don't get upset and have bad days with them just because I chose to work with them, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
There's still hard days.
Crunchy or smooth peanut butter? I really have a lot of food questions in here. I may have to purge that a little
I
bit or
would say
something.
we'll be able to get along then. Actually, the crunchy. Come on. I can't even believe this is even a
Right?
question. Right.
I,
My husband would say smooth. In fact, he's making toast right now with peanut butter and he's pointing at it because it's crunchy and he hates it.
I, well,
Oh, it's
crunchy.
healthy. He hates it because it isn't made with icing sugar. I buy the kind that's just peanuts and there's like 4 inches of oil on top and you got to stir it in with a, yeah. He's We're so incompatible. I don't know how we've made it work for over 40 years.
Would you tell us something unexpected about you?
Oh, what to choose? I have a really weird and varied taste in music. So my playlist on my truck when I'm hauling horses is everything from metal to opera to cathedral choirs with the little boy soprano singing. It's like it's out there, but anything else bores me.
Okay. I can appreciate that for sure.
Yeah,
If you could choose any new skill, ability, or even a superpower, what would you choose?
I'd like to be that little Samantha woman on Bewitched who can wrinkle her nose and have the house clean. Every time I clean my house, which isn't often, granted, I'm always going, well, there's an hour of my life I won't get back.
You
Yeah.
know, every time you clean something, you're really just dirtying something else. You don't really get rid of the mess. You just move it
Oh,
around.
that's
So
profound.
here's another one. I love this one. When you clean a vacuum cleaner, you become a vacuum cleaner. How about that?
Yeah,
Yep.
oh, that's true. Okay.
I have a whole list of those things. I call them amygdala hijack questions when you work
Okay.
with people that get way too into their head or they have a little wreck or something and they get fearful or kids, the crying person on the horse thing. You walk up to
Okay.
them and tell them that vacuum cleaner thing and they'll look at you like, what the hell? But it snaps them right out of that frame of
Oh,
mind
and
and
ever so much more effective than just yelling at them to get over themselves. Yeah.
for sure. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
a good one.
Um, thoughts or feelings?
Excuse me. There we go. Since I am newly deciding that I need to put more into thinking good thoughts, I'm going to say that I'm a feelings person.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to have to start backing it up with some real thought, not just, you know, going off my cuff. Yeah.
The habits we have in our head are maybe the most important habits we have for sure.
Hmm.
So I have a music question next, but you kind of already answered that. Do you have a favorite piece of tack or horse related tool?
I'm a gear hound. I have my tack room is just filled with treasures that were sort of easy to get when I was a young person. So I really I like to honor my horses turned out with nice gear, but my favorite thing is probably my own personal side saddle that was rescued by a lady who I don't know out of a dumpster one morning when she was taking her garbage out. And she somehow got my name because she'd seen an article about me in the paper, and she called me and she said, would you like to drive the 2 hours to my town and come and get the side saddle? And common sense told me no way. And a little voice said, what have you got to lose? Go do it. And it turned out to be an incredible saddle built around 1885 by S.C. Gallup, Pueblo, Colorado, up here in Cochrane, Alberta, Canada. I have no idea why. It had to go into the back when I drove home because it smelled so strongly of cat pee.
Oh,
But we got her cleaned up. I re-rigged it, and my daughter rode it racing side saddle at the Calgary Stampede. So it's got a lot of meaning to us. And how it ended up here, I have no idea. Yeah,
maybe it was just meant for you.
I think it was
Are you decisive or indecisive?
decisive. I can't stand indecision. It grates on me, and you just get the ball rolling and deal with what falls out from your decisions. I think I don't know.
What is the best smell in the barn? Obviously, it's not cat pee. So, what else would you pick?
Obviously not. No, that's true. Well, horses themselves, right? I'm already thinking about when I'm going to go in the old folks' home, how I'm going to deal with the rest of my days without the smell of a horse. So that has already occurred to me. But new hay that got put up dry and is in the loft, that's a pretty big deal. It smells pretty good.
I'm thinking, yeah, there's got to be a market out there for a candle that smells like hay or a candle that smells like a little sweaty horse, you
Oh,
know.
wouldn't that be something? Yeah, there you are. We have a native bush here. We call it silver willow, wolf willow, and I can't remember the Latin name for it. But the smell of that silver willow in bloom over the hills in the spring. Oh, you could bottle that. And I think maybe that's just mixed up with our fact that we've just made it through 7 months of winter. I don't know. But yeah, that's a good one too.
Would you, I don't know if you do a lot of traveling, so maybe we'll take this question out, but are you rather stay at the event in a living quarters trailer or rather go to the hotel and get the heck out of there kind of person?
Well, the good horsewoman in me says that I would want to stay where my horses were. But we've got that bathtub issue, uh, I'd have to sit and think with that for a while. I don't think living quarters trailers have bathtubs, so I'd be in trouble.
Sweet, salty, or spicy?
Salty, salty, salty,
All day long. Yes, ma'am.
all day long. Yes, sir.
Do you have a favorite dinosaur or deep sea creature?
Well, no, but one of my clients took me down to the Exumas, the line of um, islands about an hour from Nassau, Bahamas, to stay there last January. And I discovered this incredible world called snorkeling. And I'm a landlubber, right? When I take my clothes off, I'm just glowing blue, white alabaster. Okay, so this was so surprising to me. But the that world under the sea, the colors, it was just they had to like get a big hook and drag me in, and say you've been out there for hours, you need to come in. That was incredible. All those little fishes.
So my household is entirely redheads except for myself. So we don't need any night lights. They all just glow in the dark. They can find the bathroom with no problem whatsoever. Can appreciate that. And my wife, still, we just got done treating a severe sunburn on her. Like she just cannot figure out that she cannot go out in the sun in a tank top for 3 hours without sunscreen on. She's going to be a lobster when it's all said and done. But
Yeah,
anyway.
some of us are slow learners. There is that.
And have you ever had a UFO encounter?
I don't think I have. I've been driving along at night with strange glowy lights that would appear, but I don't know if that's what that was. But I do believe that there is stuff that I don't know or understand that is out there. I mean, I grew up in a haunted house, so I know that there is energy and presence and everything that we can't see that can rip the mantle off the wall, and
Yes,
so
ma'am.
it's there, and I just accept it.
And then y'all would have the northern lights, I'm sure, where you're at
Oh,
all the
we
time,
we
huh?
do, we do. Recently, it was pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's a bucket list for me. I wanna see that one day. Um, well, that concludes. Oh, I have one more question that I have added. I'm sorry. Um, on a scale of 1 to 10, what temperament of horse do you prefer for yourself to ride?
For myself, okay, that makes it different. Um, my most difficult horse for me personally are those ones that are advertised more woe than go. I have steam coming out of my ears. It just doesn't feel right that I have to work harder than the horse. So I would say let's go with a four. Let's go with a four. Because there's
Okay.
some that are just a little too, I don't need to win a chuck wagon race or anything.
Yes, ma'am. Well, that concludes the lightning round questions. I'm going to tabulate your score here.
I'll do
You
the
have
drum roll.
you have accumulated 2,817 points, which makes you our highest scorer of all time, the ultimate
I'm the
winner
champion. I'm
of
the
the game.
champion. Okay, you know
So,
what? All I know is I could have slept last night. I did not need to lie awake worrying about this.
I'm sorry that you were bothered by it. I was trying to put your mind at ease here, but Anyway, um, well, as
Darn.
the reigning high scorer, you are entitled to either a genuine compliment or an awkward silence, your choice.
Oh, ooh, that's actually a tough question for people.
For some, for some, there, one is clearly more awkward than the other. I've been a little surprised at what people have chosen over. I started these questions just because some people are nervous and they don't do this kind of thing a lot. And I thought it would help break
Yeah,
the ice and all, but it's
yeah.
really become a very revealing. It might be my favorite part of the whole podcast.
Well,
Just
if I asked for the awkward silence, I could leave and go get a cup of coffee. I'm going to ask for the awkward compliment.
That's exactly the kind you're going to get too, I'm afraid. All right. So I really, really appreciate about you. I think I overuse this word sometimes, but it's a facet of human personalities that I don't see that we see that often. So when I see it, I really appreciate it. And that is your candor. You just are very open, and that's rare. Most of the time when you meet people, there is some form of a wall in between, and you are willing to talk about subjects that might be a little uncomfortable or some might consider embarrassing or shameful, and you just embrace it and run forward, which actually makes you heroic and brave and useful, because when we talk about things that are only comfortable and safe, we don't learn a damn thing. It's just a waste of everybody's time. So you being willing to tackle some of those more challenging subjects makes you an actual useful person, and I don't think there's that many of them out there. So I very much appreciate that aspect of you.
Wow, thank you. To be useful is a really big deal. I have a daughter who is very talented. She carves leather and builds things, and she's also very beautiful. And her mantra, and it's right on her business logo, is be useful as well as decorative. Because she can't stand women who will not dig deep. When you sit down and talk to someone, let's not talk about the weather. Let's talk about ideas, what fires us up. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I like it. There are plenty of people out there who are only decorative. There's no doubt about that. So, very good mantra there.
We probably are no danger of falling in that pool, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Maybe I'm speaking for myself. Yeah, falling.
No, no.
Okay.